Hello. I'd like to start by telling you that I am a recovering teacher. I taught English, history, and the last spell of teaching I did was IB Film. So this is also going to be a blatant commercial for IB Film, the program. All right. Story. My world evolves around story. Storytelling, listening to stories, and I spent 3 weeks in Somalia in a desert taping stories that people were telling about the civil war there. Am I okay? This is a thing. Yes, okay, a gadget, great. So story. I was thinking, okay, how I'm going to incorporate future into my talk about story. Well, being a screenwriter, you're also a futurist, because from the moment you think of an idea of a film, it will take at least 8 years before you sit at the premiere. That's a daunting time. It's frustrating, but it's also fun. This month, 2 films that I started on 8 years ago will finally see the light of day. One impossible film in Kazakhstan involving joggers in yellow leotards trying to buy spare wheels for Soviet cars on the one hand, and a Georgian film about an island that is created by the river and it is destroyed by the river. It took ages to prepare, but that's not what it's about. It's about how do you invent a story. See how we get this done? Okay. It says Greek creator. It should say God or gods, because as a writer I am God. I get to create a world, not the world, but a world, and I want you to think of your favorite film of all time now. So I want you to have a title in your heads, and I want you to think of that story, that film, when I go through the motions, okay? So think of a film and think of a world. So a writer starts to create a world. It's also called an arena in which the story takes place, but we need to find a world. It could be in the future, it could be a historical world, it could be contemporary, it could be in your city, it could be someplace else. It is a world. And in the world, there is a thing that doesn't work, and good, and then there's darkness in my world, which is also, the world's back again. There is character. There are loads of characters, but you need to think about your main character, because if I create a main character, I want him or her to be me, or I want me to be the character. So I want to know a lot about my character. Favorite food, favorite music, pains, thrills, all that stuff. So the film that you've just planted inside your heads, you've now got the world, you know what the world is like, and you know the character. Sometimes it takes a while to define who is the main character, but there's always one main character. And the character has a goal in life. So it should be something that the character aspires to. Something he or she wants, and wants changed, or wants to find out, wants to achieve. Think of your main character in your film, in his or her world, and what is his or her goal. You got that? Okay, so in some instances it's simple. The Hobbit, yeah, E.T., okay, world, E.T., character, what does E.T. want? Okay, that's fine. And then the goal is always based on conflict. There is never a film, there's never a story that does not involve conflict. And the conflict could have all kinds of layers. Normally, there is a conflict in the world. Because there is this world, there is this conflict. Think The Hobbit. What is the conflict? does that come from space? No, it is part of the world the bloody Hobbit lives in. Yeah? Okay. So, there we go again. And there's good and bad. And this is where the God bit pops up. Because as a screenwriter, I get to decide what is good or bad. I can inverse it. I can make bad good or good bad. But you need to define that. For me, this is extremely important. I work with writers and directors from Georgia and Kazakhstan. Shortly, I will be going to Azerbaijan to work with people. And I want them to share my concepts of good and bad. And now we come back to the future, because the stories that I create, I want the good people to be rewarded and the bad people to be severely punished. Django Unchained, anyone? Yeah? A world, characters, good, bad, and God, Tarantino deciding on who gets killed in brutal ways. Good. Reward and punishment. Yeah, this could also be inversed. You could have a film which has a horrible ending and in which we all pity the death of the main character, but still we know what is good and bad. We feel pity. Okay, how does The Hobbit end? Oh no, he has to go on for 3 more films that are far too long. That's true. So he doesn't die in the end. That's okay. Development of character. Important. Your main character, who has a goal in his or her world, goes through all sorts of conflicts to reach that goal. Yeah? But story is not interesting if this conflict and this search does not change the character. So the character starts in his world with concepts, with ideas, with a personality, and along the way this changes. Without this change, we have flat characters, we have crap films. Yeah? And there are loads of crap films in the world. And I hope, I don't hope so, but I think that some of you might think the film that's in my head, Final Destination 5, development of character, they all just die and they don't really learn. Well, yeah, well, they learn, but that was it. Okay, that was it. The development of character. What does this mean to you? What can you learn from this? One thing is, if you read books, if you watch films, try to find these elements, because all proper films, all proper books address these elements in the storytelling. Another thing is, what I would like you to do is contemplate writing stories, contemplate making films, and you don't need a lot of technical backup to make films. You can make brilliant films with your phone. You really can. And it's all based on story. So what I want you to do is bear in mind the film that you chose as your favorite. Find things that are good about it and try to imagine a world in which you create a character that goes through life the way you think you would go through life in the world that you've created, and just write the film and make it. Just do it. And that was it. Thank you very much.